friends. Let's talk. Shalom, my little friends. My phone's being jacked up on Mountain Dew, but let's talk about Wormwood. Okay, so we know that in the end times it's going to be like Sodom and Gomorrah, and that's exactly what they're doing right now. They got this androgynous stuff going on, a man being with man, woman being with woman. All right, so we understand. Let's just read a little bit. You got Deuteronomy 32:32. For their vine is the vine of Sodom, and the fields of Gomorrah. Their grapes are grapes of gall. Their cluster is bitter. Their wine is the poison of dragons, and the cruel venom of Esau's. Now, the word for gall comes from concordance number H7219, Ross, a poisonous plant. The poppy, that's opium. Poison, even of serpents, gall, hemlock, venom. From H7218, Ross, to shake the head. Band, beginning, captain, chief, chiefest, captain, chief place, chief man, company, end, excellence, high, on high, highest part, principal, priest, ruler, sum. Now look at that. We've got high, on high, highest, chief, chiefest, chief place, chief man, principal, priest. But principle, what we war against, not flesh and blood, but principalities and powers. So, he's talking about the fallen angels here. I know it 100%. Now, let's go over here. Now, wait a minute. He says, their wine is the poison of dragons and the cruel venom of Esau's. Let's read in Lamentations 3:15 and 19. He hath filled me with bitterness. He hath filled me with bitterness. He hath made me drunken with wormwood. Remembering mine affliction and my misery, the wormwood and the gall. Okay? Now let's go to Deuteronomy 29:16. For ye know how we have dwelt in the land of Egypt, and how we came through the nations which we passed by. 17. And ye have seen their abominations and their idols, wood and stone, silver and gold, which we were among them. Lest there should be among you man or woman, or family or tribe, whose heart turneth away this day from Yahuwah the Lord our God Elohim, to go and serve the gods of these nations, lest there should be among you a root that beareth gall and wormwood. So here he is again. Alright, but now he's talking about the fallen angels, the ones that they have served. If there be any among you that continues to do this, he will send the root that beareth gall and wormwood, the poison of dragons and cruel venom of Esau's. This is what he's talked about. Alright, so this is the wormwood. This is what he's speaking about with the wormwood. It's poison that comes from the fallen angels. Now, whenever Jesus says that we, as Holy Spirit, wind and breath-filled children of God, Yahuwah, cannot be touched by the poison of serpents, we can't be hurt by it, I don't think he's talking about, yes, it can happen, but I don't think he's talking about a real serpent that bites you and the poison that comes from it. I think that he's talking about this poison, this knowledge of this ancient technology that we need to stay away from. This just bad figs. And what are bad figs? What do they taste like? They're bitter. It's just bad stuff. Okay. So let's go to Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 1, 2, and 3. At that time, saith Yahuwah the Lord, they shall bring out the bones of the kings of Judah, and the bones of the princes, and the bones of the priests, and the bones of the prophets, and the bones of the inhabitants of Jerusalem out of their graves. And they shall spread them before the sun and moon and the hosts of heaven, whom they have loved, and whom they have served, and after whom they have walked, and whom they have sought, and whom they have worshipped. They shall not be gathered, nor be buried. They shall be for dung upon the face of the earth. 3. And death shall be chosen rather than life by all the residue of them that remain of this evil family, which remain in the places whither I have driven them, saith Yahuwah the Lord Zabaoth. Now, let's go to 7. Yea, the stork in heaven knoweth her appointed times, and the turtle and the crane, the swallow observe the time of their coming. But my people know not the judgment of Yahuwah the Lord. Let's go to verse 17. For behold, I will send serpents, cockatrices among you, which will not be charmed, and they shall bite you, saith Yahuwah the Lord Zabaoth. I believe that he is talking about these fallen angels. And I believe they're not charmed because of the bones. The bones. That's why in Jude chapter 9, or Jude verse 9, the word is now body instead of bones. The devil wanted the bones of Moses. He did not want the body of Moses. He knew. The devil really thought, and it's very possible, and this is why he probably couldn't have the bones. Because if he had the bones of Moses, that he could have tried to defeat Yahusha just a little bit easier. It would have been a little bit easier for him to try. But he will never defeat him. Hallelujah. Yahusha defeated has already done it. Apparently, we just can't grasp the concept of time. And that's all right, we're not supposed to. Right? We're not supposed to. Even try to think of outside of time is, you can be there for hours. Okay? But dude, so these bones, they're going to take these bones and spread them for all these hosts of heaven. So they're going to spread them for these fallen angels that they have worshipped and served. And all of a sudden this charm is lifted off of these fallen angels. Now, in Revelation chapter 8, verse 10 and 11, and the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers, and upon the fountains of waters. And the name of the star is called Wormwood, and the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. What? And then the very next one, and the fourth angel sounded, and the third part of the sun was smitten, the third part of the moon, and the third part of the stars, so as the third part of them was darkened. And the day shall not for the third part of it, and the night likewise. And look at that. He brings up the sun, and the moon, and the stars. There's no coincidence here. He's talking about the same stuff. And we're going to see how he brings up, again, something that from Jeremiah 8 to Revelation 8, that there's a connection here going on. Okay. But it's interesting, this wormwood. See, our Father does say in Psalm 78, can't remember what it was, 78, 49, he casts upon them fierceness of his anger, wrath and indignation and trouble by sending evil angels among them. Our Father says that he did that. He by sending evil angels among them. He made a way to his anger. He spared not their soul from death, but gave their life over to the pestilence, and smote all the firstborn in Egypt, the chief of their strength in the tabernacles of Ham, but made his own people to go forth like sheep, and guided them in the wilderness like a flock. And he led them on safely, so that they feared not, by the sea overwhelmed them, their enemies. And he brought them to the border of his sanctuary, even to this mountain, which his right hand had purchased. He cast out the heathen also before them, and divided their inheritance by line, and made the tribes of Israel to dwell in their tents. Yet they tempted and provoked the Most High, and kept not his testimonies, but turned back and dwelt faithfully like their fathers. They were turned aside like a deceitful bow, for they provoked him to anger with their high places, and moved him to jealousy with their graven images. When Yahuwah heard this, he was wroth, and greatly abhorred Israel, so that he forsook the tabernacle of Shiloh, the tent which he placed among men, and delivered his strength into captivity, and his glory into the enemy's hand. Look at that. Once again, they turn back to what? The iniquity of the fathers. They turn back to worshiping the sun and the moon and the stars. They turn back to their graven images that they have created. Again, and that's why these evil angels, at the first time evil angels got sent among them, and then the second time he said, fine, I'm just going to do it. You continue to do this stuff, I'm going to send them on. I'm going to send them on to you. And that's what these serpents, these cockatrices are. And that's what this wormwood is. But look, okay, so Jeremiah talks about, right here, Jeremiah 8:14. Why do we sit still? Assemble yourselves, and let us enter into the defenced cities, and let us be silent there. For Yahuwah the Lord our God Elohim hath put us to silence, and given us water of gall to drink, because we have sinned against Yahuwah the Lord. Look at that. He talks about the silence, and he talks about giving them water of gall to drink. Revelation chapter 8:1. And when he had opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. And then the trumpets are sounded. What do the trumpets bring? They bring judgment. The trumpets bring judgment. This is what the trumpets bring. What's he talking about right here? Everything that I've read so far, it's about judgment. It's about the judgment. Because they continue to fall to the worship of the sun and the moon and the stars and the sky. They continue. Deuteronomy 29:19. And it shall come to pass, when he heareth the words of this curse, that he bless himself in his heart, saying, I shall have peace, though I walk in the imagination of my heart, to add drunkenness to thirst. The Lord Yahuwah Elohim God will not spare him, but then the anger of Yahuwah Elohim God and his jealousy shall smite against that man, and all the curses that are written in this book shall lie upon him, and Yahuwah the Lord Elohim God shall blot out his name from under heaven. Look at that. Ain't that interesting? He talks about how because they have said, I shall have peace. Well, Jeremiah 11, for they have healed the hurt of the daughter of my people slightly, saying, peace, peace, when there was no peace. And then with Jeremiah 8:15, we looked for peace, but no good came, and for a time of health, and behold, trouble. He's talking about the same stuff, y'all. This is the same stuff. He's talking about the same stuff. This is it. This wormwood is a star that falls from heaven. The stars are the angels. We know that. Revelation chapter 1:20 describes that to us. Stars are the angels. So this wormwood is a star. Well, this ancient technology is all from the fallen angels. And the bones being changed. What are they doing? They're mixing and messing with the DNA. They're finding DNA in what? The bones. It's no coincidence, not one bit, that it was changed in Jude 9. That the devil wanted the bones of Moses. Now it says body. But that's why it was changed. That's why it was changed, where it was changed. Because, see, the devil, the fallen angels, they had hidden themselves so well. But they were allowed to. The time appointed. It was not their time yet. Well, let's read a little bit in Jude. Jude 6. And the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved into everlasting chains under darkness, unto the judgment of that great day. Even as Sodom and Gomorrah and this city is about them in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh, are set forth for an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire. Likewise also these filthy dreamers defile the flesh, despise dominion, and speak evil of dignities. Yet Michael the archangel, when contending with the devil, had disputed about the bones of Moses, does not bring against him a railing accusation, but said, Yahuwah the Lord rebuke thee. But these speak evil of those things which they know not, but what they know naturally. As brute beasts, in those things they corrupt themselves. Woe unto them, for they have gone in the way of Cain, and are ran greedily after the error of Balaam for reward, and perished in the gainsayings of Korah. These are spots in your feasts of charity, when they feast with you, feeding themselves without fear. Clouds they are without water, carried about of winds. Trees whose fruit withereth without fruit, twice dead, plucked up by the roots. Raging waves of the sea, foaming about their own shame. Wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of the darkness forever. He's talking to these, and look, there we are again, talking about them naughty figs. He's talking, not naughty figs, but the fruit, this withered fruit. These trees whose fruit withereth without fruit. They got nothing. The knowledge that they have is just going to perish. It's gone. It's doing nothing but bringing you into destruction, as Sodom and Gomorrah were into destruction. Because the more that we feed on this fruit of this ancient technology, the more we take in of this, the more we become this androgynous thinking. And that's not a child of Yahuwah God Almighty. But this is exactly what the hive mind is bringing us to. Or exactly what the hive mind is bringing the world to, not us. I say this for us because this is so powerful, how these things have been hidden so, these fallen angels and the knowledge, this ancient technology, so well that out of nowhere we're just finally seeing what these things mean, in Jeremiah and Revelation when he's speaking about, and why does he say there's silence? Why silence? I think the silence is because there's no one praying right. Just a select few, a handful. They're praying the right prayers because they understand judgment. They understand that judgment has to be. There's silence because there's so many that are not speaking right. It's just quiet in heaven. I feel that is what he is speaking about here. His children have just gone backsliding away from his statutes, away from his word, looking to other things, to ancient technology, the new age stuff, sound vibrations, and alpha and beta sound waves, and it's not of Yahuwah, it's not of Jesus, it's new age stuff. Jeremiah 23:15, therefore thus saith Yahuwah the Lord Zavot of hosts, concerning the prophets, behold, I will feed them with wormwood, and make them drink the water of gall. For from the prophets of Jerusalem is profaneness gone forth into all the land. And that's so true. These Kabbalists, they're supposed to be teaching the Torah the right way, and instead they are just profaning it. And they're teaching these in Freemasonry, just these stories of the Bible, and they're wrong the way they're teaching them. They're wrong, the occult way that they're doing this. These Freemasons are just taking it in, is that these brothers, these men, they're just accepting this knowledge as though it's okay. Oh, because the word's being used with it. This is who he's talking about. This is the wormwood. This is the silence. This is the profaneness. It's knowledge. It's knowledge, man. The bitterness of the wormwood. Okay, so let's go one more way in Amos. Amos talks about these things as well. Amos brings up wormwood. 5:7, Yehu then turn judgment to wormwood, and leave off righteousness in the earth. Seek him that maketh the 7 stars, and Orion, and turneth the shadow of death into morning, and maketh the day dark with night, that calleth the water of the sea, and poureth them out upon the face of the earth. Yahuwah the Lord, Elohim, is his name. Ain't that something? Hallelujah, hallelujah. There he is again. I didn't even know he was going to talk about that. But then you've got Revelation. Well, we brought up 8, and I told you things in 8 and showed you stuff. Well, all of a sudden, right now in Revelation chapter 9, he brings up the key to the bottomless pit and the things that are going to come out of the bottomless pit. But look at this. In Amos 9, he says, though they dig into hell, 9:2, though they dig into hell, thence shall my hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. And though they hide themselves in the top of Carmel, I will search and take them out thence. And though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, thence will I command the serpent, and he shall bite them. And though they go into captivity before their enemies, thence will I command the sword, and it shall slay them. And I will set mine eyes upon them for evil, and not for good. And we're just going to stop there, because this has went on a long time. Which that's the Holy One, breath, and spirit. It's just amazing, y'all. I know that you see and hear the connection as well as I am seeing and hearing the connection. If you have any comments, any understanding of what I've just read here, please send them to me. I love hearing it. If I am wrong on something and the Holy One, breath, and spirit wants you to correct me, then please send it to me. But y'all, there are no coincidences. Our Father is repeating himself and repeating himself and repeating himself in the old and in the new. He's repeating himself. And there is no coincidence that this has been changed. Jude 9. from bones to body. Bones is very specific. You have a blessed day in the name of Yahushua. Thanks for listening.